All right, so we are going to quickly review this Algebra 2 skill that is pretty darn important and useful. So when you get an equation like this, where, in Algebra 2, you would start by checking to see if you could factor it, right? So you'd move the 8 over, you'd say, this is plus 10 equals 0, and then you'd say, all right, well, how could I factor this? What two numbers can I multiply that will give me 10, like 2 and 5 or whatever, that when I add, I'll get 12, and nothing works. So you're like, oh, darn it, I'm going to have to either use the quadratic formula, or I could use completing the square. And this is that method. Okay, so what we'll do is, first thing you do is you move the 18 to the other side, and you want to isolate the x squared minus the 12x. Leave a little space, so I'll just write plus and then a space here, equals, and the other side is negative 18 plus 8, and then we're adding something. So what we're going to do is we're going to add something to both sides so that we can perfectly factor this side into the exact same factors, two factors multiplied by each other. What we really need is this number to be a 6, because when we multiply the outer and the inner, we'll get negative 12. Negative 6 plus negative 6 is negative 12. And when we multiply, what do we get? Because that's what we're going to need. And that's going to be a positive 36. So basically, the formula is you figure out, you take this number, negative 12, you divide it by 2, and then you square it. So negative 12 divided by 2 is a negative 6, squared is 36. That's where 36 comes from. So now, we added 36 on the left, so we have to add the same number on the right because we're dealing with an equation. Let me erase this. So now we rewrite this as x minus 6, the quantity squared. And you can write it x minus 6 times x minus 6, but nobody does. Equals, and then the other side, we just add those numbers up and we get 26. Now we can just take the square root of both sides. And when you take the square root of x minus 6 squared, you get x minus 6. And the other side is plus or minus the square root of 26. Don't forget the plus or minus. Now we bring the 6 to the other side, and we get x equals 6 plus or minus root 26. Done. And that means two solutions, 6 plus root 26, and then 6 minus root 26. So awesome. So much easier than when you learned it in Algebra 2, right? Let's try the next one. Move the 19 over. X squared minus 10x plus some number equals, and the other side is negative 19 plus some number. All right, so we take the negative 10, cut it in half, square it, 25 on both sides, we're adding that 25. So this is x minus, we already found the 5 because we already took the negative 10 and cut it in half. But we don't need to do that again. So x minus 5 squared equals, and then negative 19 plus 25 is 6. So this ends up being x minus 5 equals plus or minus square root of 6. So x equals 5 plus or minus root 6. Boom! Next one's a little bit more difficult. So we move the 20 over, we end up with a 2 in front of the x squared. Okay, 2x squared plus 12x, and then equals 20. Okay, so what we need to do to complete the square is take that 2 out that the 2x squared and the 12x have in common. When we do that, we're going to end up completing the square inside this parentheses that's currently being multiplied by a 2, which is fine. So the other side is like that. Now, we're just going to complete the square, just like we did in the last two problems. Take 12, cut it in half, and square it. So half of 12 is 6. Wait, am I messing this up? No, yeah. Half of 12 is 6. Hold on. Mistake. I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, right here. I already took the 2 out. This is a 6x. Somebody would have caught that if we were in class, but we're not. All right, half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. There we go. Now, you would think I'll add 9 to the other side, but that's not really a 9 because it is being multiplied by this 2. You see, it's inside that parentheses. So we actually, on the left side of the equation, we just added an 18. So on the other side, to keep it balanced, just like in science, a balance, we're balancing the equation, we have to add 18. Okay, so now we complete the square. So now this is x plus 3 squared equals 38. Now we just divide by 2. So we get x plus 3 squared equals 19. This is x plus 3 equals plus or minus root 19. So x equals negative 3 plus or minus root 19. So much fun. Who would not want to be doing this right now? The second type of completing the square is says to write the quadratic in vertex form. Okay, so sometimes you can only work on one side, and this happens when you're dealing with circles as well. So to do that, in the last 3 problems, we were adding on both sides to keep it even. This way, we're going to have to work on one side, which is, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. So 16x, and then we're going to complete the square. And then after completing the square, we still have that plus 5 over there. And then if I choose half of 16 is 8 squared is 64, I've now added 64 to the right side of this equation. To keep it balanced, I'm going to also have to subtract 64 on this side. But now look what I can do. I can rewrite this part as x minus 8 squared. And then this, I can just leave at the end as a minus 59. There you go. I just put that equation in vertex form. Let's try the next one. This one's a little trickier because we've got that 2. So if I rewrite number 5 as y equals 2 parentheses x squared plus 6x plus some number, let me use another color here, minus 8, complete the square, half of 6 is 3, 3 squared is a 9, so I'm adding 9, but that's not really a 9, that's a 9 times 2. So really just added 19 to the right side of the equation. We also have to subtract, 9 times 2 is 18. We always have to subtract 18 as well. Well, now we can rewrite this as x plus 3 squared. And then there's a minus 26 at the end. And I think we are finished. Peace out.